everyone, and welcome to a special morning stream. How's everyone doing? Hope you're having a good morning so far. If you're in a similar time zone to myself, if it's a different time zone, it's still a different time than you normally see me. So welcome, everyone. Today we're taking a look at some 90s satanic panic demon stuff. That should be fun. I'm streaming early today because I have kind of a weird shift today. Normally, I work when I work at my job. I normally work like early in the morning to like the afternoon. But today I work 1:30 to 8:30, which kind of sucks. But like it's fine. It's whatever. I'm also scared because I'm gonna be the most senior person there for like the first time ever. And if things go wrong, that's on me. So that's scary. Gitara, thanks for 42 months, says, praise Paul. Early Hannah stream while I cook breakfast. I hope it's good. What are you making? Did you bring eggs for me? Bring me eggs. I demand eggs. So yeah, it should be fun. I don't know exactly how long we're gonna go. It might be a little shorter than a normal stream, but I'm already ready for work. I already put makeup on, and I picked out my clothes already, so I can go up until, just about it's time for me to leave, so that's fine. I don't know how long this video will take, though, either, so. Altered Undying says, it's my kid's first day of summer vacation. I woke up at 7 a.m. like normal to get her out the door, said, not today, Satan, and woke up to a stream. Oh, a juggle. An early morning juggle? Okay, I'll try. Look at I sneeze. Ugh. Does that count? We did it. Juggle breakfast eggs. I am bereft of ovum. I have no eggs in every sense of the word. So, I think we can get into it after I do my little spiel. If you're on YouTube, do me a favor and like the stream. A thumbs up helps, especially, frankly, if you don't normally get to see live, now's your chance to interact. I tell you to hit the thumbs up and you do it. It's like Blue's Clues or Dora the Explorer. What else? If you want to help support the stream, we are at the end of the month. So if you want, it would be really helpful to do gift subs or subscribe if you're not already on Twitch. It'll help you get rid of ads, which are always pesky and annoying. I try to limit the amount of ads whenever I get the opportunity to skip them for you guys. I do hit the skip button, but they only give me a certain number of those per, I think it's like week or something. So, you know, if you don't want to see ads, consider subscribing. All right. With that out of the way, let's jump into it. Oh, also, we're doing a tip goal for new costumes, because it's the summer and it's warm, and I'll get lighter costumes that are probably skimpier. I don't think anyone wants that, but it's the funny thing to do, so. Alright, let's jump into this. This is called, Demons, True Life Evil Forces from 1994, the same year I was born. So let's get into it. Oh, it's in stereo! Hell yeah! Not listen to no stupid mono demons.
There were times when they would see a dark figure going past their dining room window and their cat would scream at it and would go...
There's at least 4 people counting your wife who would be into that. It's funny you said that because she literally texted me, I want you in skimpy costumes. So there you go.
Definitely, as I got deeper and deeper into a number of different things in the occult, I was becoming just aware that these things were around me.
While I was talking with him, his natural face disappeared, and instead I saw a huge red, frightening face, kind of scaly skin.
Oh no! Does that lady have a mental disorder? And she thinks it's demons?
And so if a person, say they saw a spirit or something in
It's him!
their
He's
room,
the demon! He's got the fiery red hair! He's tried to trick us! It's Beelzebub!
if I was in the room, would I have seen it? And the answer is probably not, because there was nothing material there. It was spiritual. Well, then it's not real. Oh, yes, it is.
I will say, I do like old-timey pictures of demons and hell and stuff. There's a movie called, shoot, what is it? Haxon. Haxon's an old silent film that I have an HD copy of that's beautiful. And there's, like, the first portion of that movie is just a lot of narration about old beliefs about demons and hell, with lots of, I don't think they're actually like medieval drawings, but they're in the style of sort of medieval demon drawings. That's really fun to watch.
And then he turned to me. I was standing at the end of the counter, and he said, looked at me.
You've probably actually seen stuff from it. Hold on, let me show you real quick, because it's public domain. Not the trailer. But, yeah, it's got lots of these kind of images. It's a little blurry here, but I have the HD copy where this stuff is just, like, gorgeous, and you can see all the details in the drawings. But then it actually gets into live-action segments that are supposed to be depictions of various ancient rites and stuff like that. And it's got a pretty famous depiction of Satan that you've probably seen before. Right there. You may have seen this at some point. That's their Satan. Anyway, that's a pretty fun one. If you're not really into silent film and you want to get into it, I think Haxon's probably not a bad choice. Maybe get a friend together, or maybe do it alone in the dark at night, and it's just lots of funny, creepy, interesting imagery from over 100 years ago.
Straight in the eye, and he said, but you know who I am.
Yeah, it is free on YouTube. Again, it's public domain. You can find it on YouTube if you're interested. With LSD. I don't know if I'd recommend taking hallucinogenic drugs at all, but with that might freak you out. Did that guy go to hell because he has 2 heads? Does God see that as an abomination? Oh, I should point out, the reason I picked this is because it has a bunch of, I don't know if you remember in the 80s and 90s, this was more of a thing. It's full of dramatic reenactments of stories. People who remember 90s dramatic reenactments, you should probably be excited. Orion Cooper with a $2 super chat says, maybe not Haxon, but cats with LSD, only if it's the butthole cut.
Working under a cloak of darkness, prowling to and fro, searching for their next victim, hidden and yet seen.
Thanks, Gentleman Viking. Let me take a look. I will take a look at this later. 1 second, let me save it. There we go. And I'll take a look at that for the next Tinfoil stream. Thank you.
Evil, yet masquerading as angels of light. For centuries, man has battled, even been fascinated with demons, those creatures of the spiritual realm, on the loose from the very depths of hell. Their commander, Satan, or the devil himself. Is it true? Do demons actually exist? And are they a threat to you and to me? Within the next few moments, we will answer these and other questions. We'll talk to experts, some of the church, some not of the church, who will clearly explain demons and their belief or disbelief.
Who are the not of the church people that are super into demons? Is it going to be like people who are into like Satanism, but not like secular Satanism, but like the rare actual Satanists who believes in demons? Oh boy. Those people are interesting to me.
in what demons can and cannot do. We'll talk to everyday men and women, some young, some old, who believe they have come in contact with demons. We'll even meet a former chief investigator of the FBI who has investigated satanic worship. And
Oh, that's a good use of federal funding. That's great.
the people who have pledged their lives to these very real forces of evil. Centuries ago, talk of demons and demonic encounters were commonplace. But in the 18th century, the rise of rationalism, known as the Enlightenment, became the new way of seeing the world. The Western world dismissed all aspects of the evil spiritual realm.
I wish that the Enlightenment had been that conclusive. Holy shit, can you imagine? What a nice society we'd live in if people weren't constantly believing fucking nonsense.
While the
There
rest
would still be a lot of problems, but different problems, less annoying problems, material problems.
of the world continued to acknowledge very real
Though I would be out of the job, so.
encounters with the powers of darkness. Today, evil is clearly on the rise everywhere. Experts and theologians agree we now have no choice but to acknowledge the powers that are bringing our world to its
Who are these, you said experts and theologians alike. Who are these experts, and what are they experts in that you're claiming that we need to go back to Jesus? These experts aren't theologians? What?
demise. Alan and his entire family have always been aware of the spiritual realm. By his early teenage years, Alan set off on a journey for spiritual truth.
Oh, the music got a little discordant there and dropped into a minor key. That's ominous.
My family always had a history of having premonitions and different things on my mother's side.
Oh, no! Oh, is this guy an actor? Are they making up stories to convince people of demons? Oh, fuck.
And when my mother married my dad, my mom would have these little premonitions. And she'd tell them to my dad, and my dad's a big, burly Polish guy, and he says, you know,
yeah, my bad actor sense is going off. Am I crazy here? Am I in the wrong? This doesn't sound like a real story. This doesn't sound like a real person. This sounds like an actor who's desperate for a part, got pulled into this and handed a script 20 minutes ago.
you're making up things.
Which is better, by the way, for me. That's hilarious.
Or you're just...
Gitaro with 50 bits says, made a grilled cheese sandwich with sourdough bread. I baked myself and homemade fries. It's my comfort food. Have a second job interview today after being out of work for 4+ months, and I'm trying to steal my nerves. The stream also is really well timed. I give you my job interview blessings. You will get the job. Also, bring me a grilled cheese, you coward.
You're just thinking that, and don't put any stock in it. And she would be right. And so I always grew up with stories like that about aunts who would ask if the crops were going to be good, and they'd get rappings on the wall, knocks on the wall. So I thought that therefore, because it was in my family, after watching movies and stuff, now I can have the same things happen to me. And when I was a little kid...
If he has an IMDb, I don't think they would use his real name. So even if we searched that name, it probably wouldn't come up.
I think I was in about, must have been in 7th grade.
Penikagami says, I've come to a conclusion of why people like this believe conspiracy and other religions are real and demonic. They can't fathom believing something that isn't true, so they assume people who believe things that aren't true, that it must be demonic deception. It's also why they think mental illness is demonic possession. They can't handle the concept that your brain can trick you. I mean, yeah, but also it's just that that's their worldview. Like, if they were to recognize that a bunch of other people in the world believe religions that aren't true, then they would have to introspect about what they believe. And that's scary, so. What's the name of this documentary? Loose documentary. Demons, True Life Evil Forces from 94. Same year I was born.
We were in rural North Dakota. My dad was in the military, and we were way out in the middle of nowhere, and my room was facing a big blank field with no lights outside, and I would have a light that would appear on my wall and move from my wall over to basically my lamp that was by my bedstand. It would go across one wall and go on another. My junior year in high school, it was their senior year, and a bunch of us were close friends, and therefore we were staring at.
Demons are an easy answer to the problem of evil at the personal level. Yeah, there's a reason we metaphorically describe, like, personal issues as demons. Yeah.
After the party, and just kind of hanging out and talking, and there were basically 3 girls that I was very good friends with, and I had been gone for a year. I had moved away and had just come back, so they were asking me about what I was doing in my life, and I began to tell them that I had given up on God and on church and different things, and I was starting to look into philosophy and into the occult, and I was going to try and find out the truth and the meaning of life. I had some tarot cards in my pocket and showed them to them, and they got excited and explained basically what they could do, and that we could basically ask the cards some questions, and I could read them and tell them, predict their future, or tell them what was going on in the situation behind the scenes and things they might not know.
Yes, reenactment. Stone Corbell says, wow, I happen to be awake early and you're streaming early. It must be divine providence or something. It's actually the demons. The demons want you to watch me. So, thanks, demons.
Another
I owe them a kickback.
raging senior year party. Woo! Success!
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 I'm sorry. I'm gonna annoy you with this now.
Raging senior year party. Woo! Success!
Success!
Another raging senior year party. Woo! Success!
Yeah, but guys, look at this place.
No way, I cleaned up last time.
What's the matter, Alan? Too good to clean up twice?
I would like to formally apologize to the guy earlier for calling him a bad actor, because, well, he's not a good actor. I failed to recognize the curve that we were on for this production. Compared to these young people, he deserves a fucking Emmy. So, kudos to him for being as good as he was at being a bad actor.
What's the matter, Carla? Feminists don't clean up after parties now?
Oh, this was a good video to pick. Holy shit. This is gold.
Too good to clean up twice?
What's the matter, Carla? Feminists don't clean up after parties now?
Pig.
Chill it, you two. Don't
You know how teenagers talk.
start again.
I didn't say anything.
Yeah, right.
Well, what are we gonna do now?
Hey, Alan, what about one of those seances you're always talking about?
Hey, yeah. Gonna conjure up the dead, Alan?
Like, every one of these lines is good for a soundboard. You gonna conjure up the dead, Alan?
Seriously, Alan, we've got the house for as long as we want.
You guys couldn't handle it.
Lennon Cat
Said who?
says, let's summon Satan and make him clean up. You can't summon Satan for that. You have to summon a lesser Dybbuk.
Says me.
Hey, I say we can handle it.
Seriously, Anne? Look,
Still got candles left.
Every couch in the 90s looked disgusting, by the way. It might be because people smoked. A lot of people still smoked in the house. I don't know if that's why. But every couch in the 90s I've ever seen just looks disgusting. I would not want to sit on it.
Let's do it.
Got your crystal ball, Alan?
You think you're so smart.
Wait, this could be fun. Come on, Alan. Jan has the candles. What else do we need?
Alan, come on.
Carla?
Hey, I'm up for anything once.
Don't need any crystal ball. But I
don't practice Santeria.
do have these.
Don't need no crystal ball. Sorry, do you just keep those in your pocket at all times, wrapped in a cloth for some reason? Like, I have tarot cards, and they're in a box. They came in a box, and even if they didn't, you just have them. They're cards. Why are they wrapped in a fucking cloth?
No way. What's that?
They're my tarot.
They're my tarot.
Your what?
Tarot. You know the cards psychics use to tell the future and stuff?
Hey, Alan, you actually use these? Guys, you gotta check them out.
Yes, I do use them, and
So
be careful.
weird, man.
Have they ever worked?
Ooh, these are weird.
Sorry, I'm not like huge into tarot, but I've seen the symbols enough that it's funny to me to see someone be like, "Oh, the Hanged Man!" Like it's not that big a deal, man. It's not even that macabre.
Look at this one, the Hangman.
Yeah, tarot has nothing to do with summoning spirits. It's about predicting the future, like reading the past type shit. It's not true, obviously, but that's the idea. It would make more sense if they were using like a spirit board, a Ouija board or something. I don't know.
Man.
And this one, it says the Hermit.
This has one of those pentagram star things. Isn't it the sign for the devil?
Ew. This one is the devil card.
First of all, give them back. Okay. Somebody asks a question, and the cards tell the answer.
The cards tell the answer?
Wait, how do cards tell you the answer?
You guys are serious? You really want to do this?
Yeah.
Again,
Okay.
asking a direct question like that is more Ouija board.
Here's the deal. Have the cards with
They're
me for
applying Ouija board logic to tarot cards.
a reason. A tarot reader always has their cards with them.
Undying says, I collect tarot decks and oracle decks. I have one that's such a mid-2000s white woman tarot. It's oh my god. Oh, Woma. Yeah, that's very that. That the sun card is like Jesus, but with a pharaoh thing. That's interesting. Huh.
Each card has a spirit attached to it. I know they just look like cards with pictures on them, but they're really spirits.
No, they're cards, man. Gitara says, they're cards, not drugs, kids. They're acting like the pictures on the cards are going to bite their hands off. They're trying to prime the audience, because the idea is you would show this to teenagers or tweens or even kids at, like, Sunday school to try and scare them away from doing this stuff. So they're trying to make it seem as ominous and scary as possible to comedic effect, which was not their intent, but they're trying to make it seem scary and ominous to scare kids away. Toriador says, which card summons me to Hannah a stream before noon? That's the I'm scheduled for work later card, so I have to stream early today.
You keep them with you because the spirit of the cards commune with your spirit while you carry them. Tell you what, turn out the lights and light the candles, and I'll prove it to you.
Hydrate.
Michelle's the only one that knows this.
Yeah, here's
But I've been into this stuff for a long time now. I've learned there's more to this life than what we see. There's a spiritual realm that's really real. I've heard spirits talk to me before.
What do you mean you've heard spirits talk before?
I mean, I learned to do some things that let me know the spirits exist.
And these same spirits are in these cards?
Maybe, maybe not. Here's what we do. Somebody asks me a question about the future.
Okay. How about Mike and is he the right one for me?
Is Mike the right one for Michelle? Queen of Wands. The Queen of Wands means abundance. Her spirit has caused her card to surface for the answer. So the answer is yes, but with caution. The abundance can mean anything. Let the spirit speak. We invite you into this hallowed place. Hear our plea from the depth of darkness to come
Not exactly The Craft. I've still never seen The Craft. I own The Craft. I want to watch The Craft.
into the
Maybe I'll watch The Craft tonight. That sounds good. I've been wanting to watch it. The other day I said I wanted to watch Multiplicity, and last night I watched Multiplicity. Solid comedy.
light.
Michael Keaton's a funny guy. And the best Bruce Wayne.
Hey, I don't know about this.
Disbelief will cancel out spirits. I ask all of you, do you want to invite the other side to come among us? Michelle?
Yes.
Jan?
Yeah.
Carla? Now back to Michelle and Mike.
Do I need to ask another question?
Shh. No, wait. This card represents death. Michelle, the spirit.
The death card represents change, not literal death, to my understanding. But, I don't know. It's a made-up card game, so who cares?
of death has visited you tonight.
No, that's not what that means. It doesn't mean you're gonna fucking die tonight.
Guys, this is too weird. I feel weird.
Let your soul go, Jan. Commune with your feelings. The spirit of death is
You
here.
like George Clooney as Batman? He fits the vibes okay. It's a fun movie. I don't mind the Schumacher Batman films as much as their reputation. I think they're fun. They're kind of 90s versions of like the 60s TV show, very campy. I don't particularly like George Clooney as Batman. He plays a good Bruce Wayne character, and what I mean by that is, like, you know how Bruce Wayne puts on like a playboy character for the world to like look like he's an idiot, like rich kid? He plays good at that, but he doesn't play a good Batman or a good actual Bruce Wayne. But whatever. I do think, what's his face, who played Batman recently, Twilight guy, I'm blanking on his name right now, he's really good. I actually really enjoyed his version of Batman and Bruce Wayne as, like, a young Batman who's still really fucked up. It's pretty good.
Why,
Patterson, Robert Pattinson, thank you.
Michelle? Confess, Michelle. Let go, Michelle.
No! Stop! I don't like this. No!
No! I don't like this, no! Did William Friedkin
Definitely,
direct this?
as I got deeper and deeper into a number of different things in the occult, I was becoming just aware that these things were around me and that they were interested in my life, you know, and what I was doing and where I was going and different things like that.
Even though Alan's family had a history of toying with the unknown, they knew he had come in contact with dangerous and destructive forces. So they took him to meet an expert on the occult. He is
the cult of the Virgin, Catholic Mariology, and the what does that say? I'm not sure. Some apostles of Mary, maybe? So it's like someone who thinks that Catholicism is like a cult of Mary, which it's not.
The author of Cult of
Apparitions, thank you. So it's about people thinking they see the Virgin Mary. Okay. Like people who think they see her on fucking toast or whatever.
Virgin, crash course on the New Age movement. His name is Elliot Miller.
Well, it is a documentable fact that when people participate in occult practices, whether it's tarot cards, Ouija board.
So are we gonna, I don't even know, I can't make a joke about the facial hair because I actually kind of like it, but it is notable. Look at that facial hair, holy shit. Terradona says, when you hire the freshmen of film school to act and direct.
Board, magic, astrology, any practice that is intended to give people power and to give people hidden knowledge, they are entering into the forbidden zone. For example, in Deuteronomy chapter 18, verses 9 through 14, Moses lays out a whole list of occult practices, pretty much runs the gamut. He doesn't name it.
No offense, but Moses spent a lot of time talking to God, and that's a kind of spirit, so I think he's a hypocrite. Halted Undying says, Hannah, you need to see this. What is it?
Hello, this is Annette with Project
Oh, it's the thing for the cards.
Fine Life. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm here to do a quick review of the White Owl Mystic Arcana Oracle deck by White Owl Mystic Arcana. The creator's name is Elfie. This is a self-published oracle deck, and she states that it is made from a collection of...
Is tarot oracle deck, is tarot card the trademark of someone similar to Ouija board?
Images created during a focused period of self-discovery and alignment with the universe. I had been watching this deck for a while. A few weeks ago, I was watching Owl Moon 513, and she did a review of this deck. And at that time, I thought, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and go for it. I know which deck this will work in perfectly with. So I went ahead and got the deck. I've had it for a few weeks now myself. I did take it on a little
trip.
It
means it doesn't have the same cards and meanings as tarot. That makes sense.
That we went to, took it with me to really spend some more time with.
Okay, yeah.
And to be honest,
because this one also says horror oracle, and this doesn't have the traditional tarot card stuff. It has its own thing. That makes sense. That makes sense.
Haven't really been able to put it down since.
I love learning things.
So let me go ahead and just go through the cards with you. The cardstock is thin. It's put together all
Yeah, the vibe is very 2010s white women stuff. That's kind of funny. I don't hate it, but it is very that. It gives me the same vibes as if you've seen Bo Burnham's Inside, the song about white woman Instagram. It kind of has that vibe, which is funny. But there's nothing inherently wrong with that.
if it works with
All right, back to it.
Everything you can think of, but he lays out the basic categories that would encompass the whole world of occult phenomena. And he says, you shall not have anything to do with this. And so we're talking about something that is forbidden. He says it's an abomination to God, because people are basically looking for spiritual power in sources other than God himself. You see, and the idea behind that is really to exalt me, to allow me to manipulate others and reality to further my own desires. You see, and that is intrinsically evil. That's why it's an abomination to God. When you enter into that realm, there is a certain amount of power that you can make contact with. The power really comes from demons themselves. They will always lead you into a false philosophy. Furthermore, practicing these things opens you up to their influence. When people just, for example, dabble in something like the Ouija board, what they're doing is opening up a forbidden doorway, and that door remains open. From that point on, someone can...
I know I've spent my entire career talking about this and how frustrating I find it, but the fact that there are not even a decent portion of adult human beings that believe in demons as a literal physical reality and like in these like portals and demonic influence is horrifying to me. That this many adult human beings believe this and this is their worldview. Scary stuff. The human brain was a mistake. Consciousness is a bad evolutionary trait. I'll die on this hill. Sapience was a mistake.
Expect strange things to begin to develop in their lives. A deception begins to develop.
Augustine said, quote, "Pagan magic, religion, and sorcery were all invented by the devil for the purpose of luring humanity away from Christian truth. Some of the effects of sorcery are real, others are imagined. Whether reality or imagined, all are works of the devil." End quote. Why would Satan and his demons crusade against Christian truth? For the answer, we look to the #1 best-selling book of all time, the Bible. There we learn the history of Satan and his demons. God alone existed in the beginning. Then he created the heavens, and with the heavens innumerable angels. The angels were ranked in authority, with perhaps the most powerful angel, the one called Lucifer. He was beautiful and strong, superior even to the archangel Michael. But then, in his evil hour, his eye was turned from his creator and onto himself. He saw himself as the highest, the most gifted, and the most influential of all of God's creatures. Lucifer's heart welled with pride and ambition, and rebellion took possession of his soul. Lucifer desired to be God. A war broke out in heaven. The angels were divided and took...
Yeah, a lot of this is Paradise Lost. A lot of Christians have taken Paradise... I've mentioned this before. A lot of Christians have taken Paradise Lost and Dante's stuff and kind of folded it into the canon, even though it's not biblical. So that's funny.
Sides. Lucifer tricked and deceived 1/3 of all of the angels into enlisting into his army. The remaining 2/3 of the angels stayed with God, and God appointed the archangel Michael head over his holy army. The holy God watched the battle and said of Lucifer, "You were the model of perfection, full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. You were in Eden, the garden of God. You were anointed as a guardian cherub, for so I ordained you. You were blameless in your ways from the day you were created, till wickedness was found in you. Through your widespread trade, you were filled with violence, and you sinned." The war raged on, until the army of Michael the Archangel defeated
Why would an omnipotent God need to have armies? The idea of the Christian God being omnipotent is actually a relatively recent belief. Like, when this stuff was written, they didn't think of their God as being omnipotent. They thought of him as being much more powerful than any human, obviously, and very powerful, but they didn't necessarily see God as omnipotent, or even necessarily the only God. In the Old Testament, other gods are mentioned as if they are real, because people back then didn't think their God was the only God. They just thought it was the God that was on their team, or they were on that God's team, rather. Like in the Old Testament, you can see God having trouble dealing with iron chariots because they're made of iron, and God didn't have power over iron in that story because iron was considered this newer, powerful thing, you know? So the conception people have of God, their God, whatever, has changed a lot over time. The entire concept of omnipotence is relatively recent. Jitara says, the whole reason Paul exists is because he was a way to show that anyone can make up anything, like saying tarot is evil, demonic, without any evidence, so we can refute, dismiss such claims, or retort with a crazier claim without evidence, such as a giant jello monster named Paul being some sort of eldritch god of good vibes. By that logic, we might as well say that the fourth-dimensional jello hod ended the demonic threat from the occult rituals and woo-woo channelers. So tarot away, friends. KR Goss, thanks for 57 months, says 57 awesome months. Thanks for the entertainment during my treatments, and now will I clean for the first time in a while. Of course, thanks for watching. I'm glad you enjoy it. Fennikagami says, I've said this before and will again, if God wasn't so shit at helping people and addressing their needs, it wouldn't be so easy for Satan to turn people. If all your successes are thanks to God's blessings and therefore you owe him, your failures are also his fault because his blessings weren't enough. And hey, Nemesaur, how's it going? Welcome.
Lucifer and his emissaries. Michael and the faithful angels prevailed. Lucifer lost, and God drove him from the mount of God in disgrace. Before all in heaven who watched, God made fire come out of Lucifer and made fire consume him. All watched the once most beautiful of angels fall from heaven like lightning. With Lucifer, his rebellious army was also outcast. Lucifer became known as Satan, and the angels known as demons. All were hurled into what is called the bottomless pit, or hell. From there, since then, the devil, or Satan, has not let up. Some of Satan's demons...
This is something I've never understood about the mythology here. If Satan is imprisoned in hell, how is he influencing anyone?
...are bound in hell forever, while others are loose to do their master's work.
Where does it say that?
Satan, with those demons...
Then why would God allow that? That doesn't even make fucking sense.
...earth, seeking who they might devour.
The angels that did not keep their first estate, God...
Just a Peach with a $1 tip says, the Bible is not the most sold book. Bibles are the most sold book if you count all of them together, which would make science books the most sold nonfiction book. I at least get with the Bible thing that they have more similarities than differences. Like, a lot of it's translational, and of course, difference between, like, Catholic Bibles and Protestant Bibles. The Protestant Bibles took out some chapters. But by and large, I get why they're categorized together. It is by and large the same book, at least with a similar intent.
Imprisoned in chains of darkness. However, most demons seem to be free to move about.
I'm not sure about Orthodox, if they have their own.
And so they are in the spiritual realm, but they are capable of interacting with the earth.
Roaming the earth, seeking who they might devour. Can a demon actually inhabit the body?
A demon can devour me.
Of another human being? Carol would say yes, after an experience she had in a beauty supply store.
Demons normally hang out at the beauty store, right? They're after your vanity.
I was shopping at a little beauty supply store in a mall, and the store was run by two very dear women, and I was poking around, looking in the store. And while I was there, I noticed that they seemed very alarmed and kind of huddled together in one corner of the store. And I was looking, trying to see
They
what
had just dropped acid 5 minutes before this.
was the object of their discomfort. And I saw a very tall man with dyed hair and kind of outrageously dressed, roaming around the store and causing
a man with dyed hair. It must be a demon.
All kinds of disruption with his voice and poking at things and talking to himself. And they were very nervous. They were very undone. And frankly, it was a strange event. It was unnerving to have this guy mumbling to himself, and we all could...
That's a person potentially with mental illness, ma'am. If he's walking around muttering to himself and acting strangely, he's not a demon. He's a person probably suffering from schizophrenia. You stupid, stupid bitch. I just... Imagine looking at someone with schizophrenia or some other undefined mental illness and be like, oh, it's a demon. Are you fucking stupid, lady? He needs help. You goddamn idiot. Orion Cooper with a $2 super chat says, demon knocks on door. Avon calling.
kind of felt vulnerable, frankly, in the store. So he kept making a huge to-do about things, and at the time, through my mind, I thought, I wonder if he was on drugs or...
Either drugs or mental illness, probably, ma'am, yes. Why are you on this demon show if you're familiar with those concepts?
Or what his purpose there was, actually. And he turns to the women at the counter and he said, well, don't worry, I'm leaving now. You don't have to worry about me anymore. In fact, and he sort of laughed maniacally, he said, you don't even really know who I am. And then he turned to me. I was standing at the end of the counter, and he said, looked me straight in the eye, and he said, but you know who I am.
Yeah, that's a person on drugs or who's ill, and you're taking it seriously, which makes you the mentally ill person as well. Isn't that fun? Fennikagami says, that's always confused me too. Lucifer wanted a kingdom where he was basically God, and so God punished him by giving him a kingdom? Like, that only makes sense if God's plan was always for Lucifer to fall so he can be the foil to God for free will to exist or whatever, but that means it wasn't a betrayal. He did the thing he was meant to. Same with Judas. Like, Jesus only works if Judas turns him in. He was doing what he was supposed to do. Ah! Moth! I don't like moths. Hold on, let me... Die! Ah! Give me a... I got it. I got that dusty bitch. Okay. Moog Mulation says, what does a demon want with my vanity? It's only got some hand soap and a hairbrush on it. It's not even a particularly fancy vanity. Also, I'm not a demon. I'm just a dolphin, ma'am.
And
For those that don't know, I don't like butterflies and I don't like moths. They freak me out. They scare me. I don't like how fluttery they are. Moths are dusty and gross. I don't like them.
Who he was. In my...
Green guy says, I talk to myself too at full volume. And Hannah the Witch casting spells. I cast Squish Bug.
Heart registered this was pure evil I was looking at. And not only that, but the irises of his eyes were almost translucent white. They were like an albino white. And I hadn't seen his eyes up to this time, but he looked at me with these white eyes and laughed. And when he said, boom, within me, I knew I was really confronting evil.
Have I seen the physics animations of how they fly? No, and I'd rather not. That sounds horrifying.
And I was, in my mind, I was thinking, yes, I know who you are. So he left, and the women just stared at each other, embracing each other, and stared at me, and we all just kind of were very, very nervous about the whole thing. And then I said, you know, that was really that was really a demon. That was somebody straight from the pit of hell.
The twist is she was the one with mental illness all along.
And they all acknowledged that. And I said, you know, we have an opportunity, even though that was really disruptive. I said, we have a chance to have peace and have a greater peace, because even somebody like that who would want to disrupt cannot stand up to the name of Jesus. And
Lady, he needs lithium! Maybe methadone.
so at that point, I asked the women if they would like to all pray together and just pray for peace in the store and protection. And they were quite open to that. They wanted to do that.
I hate human beings. I hate us. I hate us so much. We're so stupid. We're so stupid.
And I wanted to do that too, because it was real nerve-wracking. So we all prayed together, and then I left.
Dr. Neil Anderson has devoted his life to studying and teaching about the evil spiritual realm. He
Well, that's a waste of a life.
travels the world teaching his seminars,
Who am I to talk, though?
resolving personal and spiritual conflicts, and has authored 2 books, Victory Over Darkness and The Bondage Breaker.
When people see an object move, it may or may not have moved. But let me illustrate something here. We're in a spiritual battle. And when somebody says that they hear voices, and the person, let's say the counselor who's trying to deal with them says, I don't hear those voices. Well, they must be out of touch with reality, so they're mentally ill.
Yes. That's actually something that's been observed, and, like, we have treatments for that. You can't cure someone having, you know, voices in their head or dealing with schizophrenia, but there are treatments and coping mechanisms that would be good instead of telling people they're possessed by demons. Jitara says, at least what you're doing is tangible. He's just yapping. What do you think I'm doing here? Here's my mouth, flapping. It's flapping and making noises.
I'm here to tell you from a biblical perspective, the one that's out of touch with reality may not necessarily be the client. It may be the counselor. What they're hearing is real, but the problem is it's not out there. It's the same problem when people say they see something entered their room. Now think about this for a moment. You don't see with your physical eyes anything without having a light source reflecting off of a material object back to your eyes. And so if a person, say they saw a spirit or...
Jay's a proxy says, I looked this guy up. He's not a doctor, but he's a leader of the Latter-day Saints. Oh my God, of course he is. Of course he is. Yeah, that makes sense.
something in their room, if I was in the room, would I have seen it? And the answer is probably not, because there was nothing material there. It was spiritual. Well, then it's not real. Oh, yes, it is. It is. The problem is it's not out there. It's right here between the ears. That's the nature of
that's the mental illness. That's your brain.
Spiritual battle that is going on, whether people hear things or see things.
Loopy had an experience similar to Carol's. She met a woman who seemed average and normal enough.
What I don't get about people like that who are like, if you think this is true, then why do Christians also suffer these things? Like, no Christian should ever have mental illness if you believe that it's demons and you can be saved by the power of Jesus. But that's not the case, because it's not demons. It's an illness that needs treatment and care.
Until one day, she saw something she had never seen before.
Well, I was involved with teaching, or coaching rather, a basketball team, girls basketball team. And the woman that we're talking about, Carmen, was introduced to me by a mutual friend who sort of felt bad for this woman who seemed to be lonely and not have any friends, and thought maybe a rec center and a group kind of situation would help her life a bit, and asked if I didn't want to become involved in that, being that it was a lot of us moms that were raising our kids and being involved with this basketball team. And she happened to be there. She was introduced to me, and I chatted with her for a little while and asked her if she wanted to come over and have coffee some evening. And visit or...
Just a Peach says, they don't think those Christians have been saved the right way. Wow, the mental gymnastics we're capable of are just Olympic gold medal winning.
Or, asked her about her kids and just struck up a real normal
You
conversation.
got an L. Ron Hubbard book ad? Scientology's a cult. Please don't join Scientology. Oh, speaking of which, do you remember the sovereign citizen that, like, said all sorts of weird shit? Like, he was like, oh, I'm getting fucked by dicks from all sides. He's just, like, very crude randomly. Found out he's a Scientologist. So that makes sense.
Conversation with her as two moms would do. She had children, so did I. And so she did come over one evening. She came over, and I think I even made her dinner, and her kids came up. We were sitting around the living room after dinner and just chatting, but I started to notice that she was a little strange as we sat there. And I began to ask her more about herself because I was just curious at a little strangeness to this woman, a little darkness, or I can't think of another way, because it wasn't an insanity kind of strange. It was just felt really different.
Can we report him to Scientology for what? I don't think he's breaking any... I don't know that... Like, I know the Z News stuff, and I know about the auditing and how they use it to get dirt on you and stuff. But, like, I don't know the actual, like, tenets of Scientology. I don't know if he's done anything that's, like, against what Scientology, quote-unquote, teaches. So, and no, I would never want contact with the Church of Scientology. Why would you ever poke that bear? Jesus Christ.
I noticed that she had lit a cigarette.
There's a possibility you've read the most L. Ron Hubbard books in chat. My current job made them mandatory. Is your company owned by the Church of Scientology? Is your company, or is just the owner of the company a fucking Scientology? Can a job make you read, like, recreational books? What the fuck?
And just began to slowly make burns on her arms. And when you first see that, you're just sort of like frozen. You don't believe that you're actually seeing someone burning themselves. She was not wincing. She was not having any physical reaction. It's almost as if
You enjoyed Battlefield Earth? Well, you were learning to spell your name. I was being trained to conquer galaxies. Yeah, Battlefield Earth is funny.
she was doing that while she thought about her answer and watching herself burn her arm, and she looked up at me. And when she looked up at me, her eyes became covered with a slimy cloudiness. I won't even say a cloudiness, but her eyes were not there. There was like a cloudiness there, but it was slimy looking. It was really bizarre. Her face had changed. And she looked at me and said, don't talk to us that way. Don't talk to us like that. We don't like to be spoken to that way. And it was a different voice. It was not her voice at all. And it had a depth, almost as if it was coming from far away.
They're technically not recreational. They're Hubbard's books on business and corporate structuring. You know what? I think you told me about this. You told me about this like a long time ago, how you were made to read those. Holy shit, that's terrible.
Like it was actually right there in front of me. And so it was a very confusing few moments, because she would like slip back and forth, and there were apparently like different entities there, but they were all bent on destruction, and she was going to take her small children and drive off of the cliff, and started burning the other arm and wouldn't stop. And I wasn't sure whether to reach out and knock the cigarette. It all happened so fast. But it wasn't the only time it happened before she finally sort of slipped out of our lives. She would do things like this all the time, to a point to where a voice would come up and say, "Hi, remember me?" And it would be one of the other voices that had been. Definitely demonic manifestations. You know, there's so many things out that are beyond our physical world, you know.
Demonstrate them. I hate that. What do you mean there are so many things out there beyond our physical world? Can you demonstrate that, or do you just believe it for no reason? What do you mean there's so many things out here beyond our physical world? Why do you think that? What is your basis for believing that?
How could we think that all we have is this physical world?
Because that's the evidence we have. Because that's what the world appears to be. Like, what is that argument? How could we only think this is it? Because that's the evidence we have, is that this is it. I'm sorry that makes you uncomfortable. That's not an argument. That's a cope.
You know, I really believe that there are many different things out there, a host of a creation, you know, demonic and good and of all kinds that we don't even know. But I really believe this was a demonic influence that she probably somewhat brought on herself by lifestyle or decisions and things that she may have been dabbling in, or generational even, who knows.
Oh my God, these people are sick.
Mentioned that her family, she was Puerto Rican, had been involved in many different forms of witchcraft when she was a child.
It always comes down to some weird, like, ethnic thing with these people, too. Bob Larson does this, like, oh, she's Puerto Rican, so her family must have been into witchcraft. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I don't personally believe that Satan is omniscient or omnipresent, and frankly, never ascribe the divine attributes of God onto Satan. And so if he's not omnipresent, how does he carry on a worldwide work? The answer is through principalities, powers, dominions, and rulers.
In the Gospels, there are numerous accounts of people who are demonized or possessed by the devil who confront Jesus, and where he is, he sort of brought them out. They were intimidated by him, they were threatened by him, and they pled with him not to cast them into the abyss. And in fact, he would cast them out of the people that they possess. So we know possession is a real thing. Jesus...
We know it, because this book said it. We know it. This book said it, guys. This book said it. It's true. This book said it.
Believed in it. Jesus dealt with it. And that was not just for the time of Jesus, because in the book of Acts, Jesus' followers.
Carbcosian with a 5-stream streak says, these fucking people need to chill. Big time.
His disciples, his appointed representatives, also had confrontations with demons.
Does it take a demonic oppression or possession to convince people that Satan and his demons are real? Ask any police agency in the world and they would say no. Satanic cults are on the rise, or simply...
Yeah, this was part of the satanic panic. That's very funny. What do you know? Cops wasting resources and chasing ghosts instead of actual crime? Fucking bonkers.
Simply put, churches or groups of people gather to worship their god, Satan. Much of their activity is absolutely unmentionable. But we must warn you, even as we just scratch the surface, the information is shocking. Ted Gunderson is retired from the FBI. His 28-year career...
Ted Gunderson? Why is that name familiar? Why do I recognize his name? Ted Gunderson.
...career included being senior special agent in charge, directing 700 employees at an annual budget of $22.5 million. He has authored a book entitled How to Locate Anyone, Anywhere Without Leaving Home, and has authored this 2-volume set.
Oh, he writes about conspiracy theories. Oh no, Ted Gunderson was a Federal Bureau of Investigation special agent in charge of the head of the Los Angeles FBI, American author and conspiracy theorist. Some of his FBI casework includes the death of Marilyn Monroe and assassination of JFK. He was the author of the best-selling book, How to Locate Anyone, Anywhere Without Leaving Home. In his later life, he researched a number of topics, notably satanic ritual abuse. Yeah, I've heard about this guy's shit. I've definitely heard his name in relation to this stuff before.
Entitled Corruption, the Satanic Cult Drug Network.
There is someone named that in New Vegas as well. I wonder if that's intentional. Probably not.
And missing children.
I've been involved in investigating this element in our society for some 15 years, since 1980 as a matter of fact.
That's a waste of your time.
And I have had hundreds of people come forward across the country with the same basic story.
Wait, hundreds of people over 15 years? That's not that many people. What were you doing with all your time?
Without even knowing each other. And these people are reputable, they're credible. I'll also discuss this with police officers who've been to the scene of the crime. I've talked to journalists who are...
I genuinely wonder, and this is something we'll never know, how many police departments around the country during the height of the 80s and 90s satanic panic, how many of them, like, staged fake satanic, like, stuff to try and get cases off their books? Or just use it as a convenient excuse to be like, we don't know what happened here, it's a satanic cult, you know what I mean? Because that must have happened a lot, where cops were using this shit as a scapegoat for them not being able to clear certain cases. That must have been a fucking shit show.
Investigating these matters. I've talked to other individuals who are highly respectable who agree with me. And the documentation is out there, there's no question about it.
I like that none of this is evidence so far. He's just like, I spoke to people, and I found them credible. Are you credible? Why do I think you are credible?
Say that there is, yes, they believe that there is a Satan, of course. Lucifer, they talk about Lucifer on a regular basis, absolutely. I'm documenting the individual activities of this element in our society, of the Satanists. For example, I have a number of people who are adult survivors, and adult survivors, somebody...
Also, I want to point out, funny that the top light, the rim light they used, is like a red rim light. That's a funny choice. You think they were like, throw a gel on there. It's demonic.
Who's born into the Satanic movement. Their grandfathers, grandmothers, and so forth were active in it, and they decided they wanted to get out. They don't like it, for some reason or other. One little girl told me that her mother forced her to go to Sunday school when she was a little girl. Her mother was a Satanist, and the only peace that she had, and through her...
Gunderson was part of the McMartin School Panic. Yep, that's definitely where I heard of him from.
Childhood.
It's a pretty good documentary, actually. Hold on. Ugh. Pretty good documentary about the satanic panic called Satan Wants You. It's all about this shit and about one of the main people who was involved in it. So if you get a chance to watch this anywhere, pretty decent documentary. Not bad.
Because of all the nefarious activities she was exposed to, was when the Sunday school teacher talked to her about Jesus, and she saw a picture of Jesus on the wall, and she decided that Jesus was her friend. This girl today is on the run. I've got her in hiding here in Southern California, and her father, according to her father's involved, her mother's involved in satanic activity.
To be clear, a lot of people who claim to be sufferers of satanic, like, abuse and stuff, they're mentally ill people. A lot of them have also, at this time, were being influenced by crank psychologists who were trying to develop their own pet theories about repressed memories. And they were basically taking people who are already vulnerable, and many were mentally ill, and giving them these traumatic false memories. So it's really exploitative and gross.
She came to me about 3 years ago and said, what do? I want to get out. They're going to kill me. I'm afraid they're going to kill me. I said, go underground. She's underground right today.
So far, everyone we've talked to has seen demons through other human lives. But what about the stories where people see demons in their true original form? Liz manages...
They probably want to fuck the demons, because demons are hot.
An apartment building.
Also, we're about halfway through this video, so I'll do my little spiel. If you haven't already, if you're on YouTube, do me a favor and like the stream. I'd appreciate it. If you're on Twitch, if you want to help support the show, you can always subscribe or gift subs. We're also working towards our tip goal for the new summer costumes. All right. Sorry about that. I always feel bad about that, but I don't do ad reads, so I think it's a fair compensation for me to not be an asshole that shills scams to you.
Demon presence there affected not only one of her tenants, but her 3-year-old son.
Don't bring your kids into this.
First of all, I'm an apartment manager. And so a couple who lived next door to my apartment wanted to move into a 2-bedroom, and I had to do a walkthrough with them to just check the apartment out while they were moving out. When we were in the hallway, I noticed there was a piece of paper taped to the wall with a cross on it. And I asked her, what is this paper doing on the wall? She said, well, you're the first one that's asked me that question. And I don't know if I should really tell you, because you might think I'm strange, but it was a metaphysical window.
What do you mean it's a metaphysical window? It's a piece of paper.
I said, oh, that's interesting. So I took the piece of paper down, and I noticed that in that one spot in the whole hallway, in the whole apartment, the paint had peeled off. There was an actual hole within the paint. There were no paint chips. Nobody ever found any paint chips on anything. It's just this circle that was impressed into the paint, and it was obvious. I said, why don't you tell me, Patty, what happened? She said that when she first moved in there, she would hear strange things and see dark figures moving around. When she married her husband, his background is a Buddhist, and
oh, that's supposed to be sinister, I bet. Another super chat, it's Mog emulation. With these camera angles, the dark lighting, the set dressing, am I the only one getting Jonathan Frakes and the Paranormal Borderline vibes? It has the vibe of like that show, yeah, Beyond Belief, Fact or Fiction. It's a similar time period, so it makes sense.
Into the New Age religion, I really don't know what that all means. He went around the apartment trying to deliver the apartment from this spirit, and he would burn tarragon. I'm not understanding the significance of that, but it didn't work. There were times when they would see a dark figure going past their dining room window, and their cat would scream at it and would just cling right onto the window. The cat did. They saw a dark figure several times in their bedroom. The husband kept trying to do everything he could in his power to get rid of it. This one particular night, they were in bed, and this dark figure, they described it as having a hood, but it appeared to be a man, but in black clothing.
Just a portal to hell. Why not? Ooh, spooky!
Holy Christmas! Oh my God! What is it? No! No! Oh my God! No! Please, no! Oh my God!
I'm sorry, just like acting is reacting. If I just showed you this image, would you be able to guess that they're seeing a horrifying demon from their reactions here?
In the name of Jesus, leave.
I'm sorry, is the demon off-put by the child's screams? It's a demon. Shouldn't it be fueled by the screams of children, like Monsters, Inc.? Why isn't it just wandering? Are we sure it's nefarious? Maybe it's just lost and confused.
Johnny!
It's like when a bird flies into your house and it can't find the window back out.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
What happened?
Something scared me.
Oh, okay, honey. Well, lay back down. It's the middle of the night. Nothing's wrong. There's nothing in the room. Just try to go back to sleep, okay? Hey, good night. Hey.
That's a kind of a funny thing to say if you think a demon is in the house. Like, you think a demon is in the house and you're not going to try to get your kid out of the house. You're just like, go back to bed, sweetie. We're going to deal with the horrifying demon ghost. Like, imagine if you had a serial killer in your house and you knew it and you were like, don't worry, little child. Go back to sleep. We'll deal with it. Oh, they're putting the cross back up. Toreador says the demon is flying around and crashing into a window. They pick it up and put it in a cardboard box with some water and a little cup in it. It's found dead in the box a week later under the kitchen table.
Are you doing?
I don't know what I'm doing. I don't understand any of this. I don't know what I'm doing. This...
Honey, shh, it's okay, it's okay.
It's not okay. You saw that thing.
You burnt the paint right off the wall.
Pray to God this does something.
As she was describing the story to me, I remember that night because I've never heard him scream so loudly, and I got up, I went in to check on him, and he was just kind of...
Wait, that doesn't even match the story they're telling. In the reenactment, they saw a demon, and they were like, ah, a demon! In the story she's telling, she isn't acting like she saw a demon. What the fuck? Narrator, it did not.
At that point, just moaning and tossing and turning, and I just pulled the covers back up and he rolled back over and went to sleep. But I do remember that night very clearly. They heard him scream, and they realized that something was coming out of that hole. I believe that Steve had had dreams about seeing this man inside this hole. So they got up in the middle of the night, took a piece of paper, crayoned a cross on this paper and taped it so that the face side of the cross faced into the hole, into this portion where the paint had chipped off. When that happened, they never saw it again. And they explained to me that my children also started sleeping much calmer every night.
Yeah, because they probably realized their parents calmed the fuck down because they'd placebo affected their own mental illness.
No more. They sometimes would have hard times going to sleep in that room, and they would wake up sometimes and they could hear it. And they said after that point, there was much peace.
Unfortunately, what's happening is, in the rise and the curiosity and the lure of knowledge and power, people are just scrambling to fill the void of a spiritual vacuum that really doesn't exist. And so, consequently, looking for some spiritual...
Glad to see you, Solus. Yeah, I work later. I have a weird shift today. I go in at 1:30, so I'm streaming early today.
reality. The New Age is offering a tremendous, seemingly, a banquet here for people. Boy, you can have spirituality and you can also have materialism. All you got to do is realize that you're God, and what you really need is a spirit guide. And what a gullible public that we have today. Just
He would know. They're his primary audience.
change the name and suddenly it's palatable. Nobody particularly wants to have a demon, and nobody would probably knowingly go out and seek a channeler. Seek a medium or a spiritist, all of which in the Old Testament were to be stoned to death. So let's just change their name.
Classy.
Let's not call them a medium. Let's not call them a spiritist or something. Let's just call them a channeler. Let's not call that demon a demon. Let's call it a spirit guide. And suddenly, a gullible public says, I want that. I said, it's the same.
Hey man, maybe people just have different bullshit beliefs than you. Fun fact. Those beliefs are also bullshit, but so are yours. They're just different. They're not related at all. Goblin with a $20 super chat says, it's 1:25 a.m. here in Sydney, but I love seeing you go live. I'll download it and listen at the gym tomorrow. Have fun, and remember, spite is as good a reason to survive as any other. Thank you very much.
Thing.
And I hope your gym visit tomorrow goes well. Get a sweat in, or whatever people do at the gym.
Changing the name did not change the function.
There have been visual manifestations of demons
Conspiracy theorist tells on themselves on the bingo card. Yeah.
recorded
If we were playing bingo.
on a few occasions, but normally this would be, I believe, in the case of deception, not so much to scare you, but to mislead you. In fact, we're told in 2 Corinthians chapter 11, verses 13 and 14, that one of Satan's tactics is to assume the form of an angel of light. And so people will have manifestations, for example, of spirit guides, or ascended masters, or angels, or even Jesus, or Buddha, or other entities that are supposedly benevolent. And these are for the purposes of deception.
The Bible refers to Satan as a lion, roaming the earth, seeking who he might devour. But Satan is not omnipresent, meaning he can't be in more than one place at one time.
Well, that would be very inefficient.
So he sends his demons, as is the case of our next story.
Well, that's cool, Solus. That's nice. The Australian book thing. That's cool.
Well, it was a number of years ago, and I had been going up to a center to learn some holistic health practices. And my teacher, I thought he was great, but I had some misgivings about him. I wasn't feeling completely comfortable with everything he was teaching us. And so I made a decision that I was going to leave the class. And I went to him and I told him that I wasn't going to continue. And while I was talking with him, his natural face disappeared, and instead I saw a huge red, frightening face, kind of scaly skin, a large nose and bulging eyes, and it was terrifying looking. I think it was a demon. I didn't know at the time. I was just so incredulous that what I was seeing, it was just as real as flesh and blood.
You don't sound incredulous. You sound incredibly credulous, if I'm being honest.
And I was fearful and just shocked. In about 10 seconds or so, his natural face appeared. The face continued to speak to me, and I just ended the conversation quickly. I later found out from 3 separate people that knew him well, much better than I, that he in fact was heavily involved with sorcery, witchcraft, some kind of satanic occult practices. So I had it confirmed from 3 separate sources who are very involved with what I now know to be demonic.
In 1983, I believe it was, information was furnished by a child to that child's mother that she had witnessed human sacrifices at the McMartin preschool in Manhattan Beach, California.
Oh, there it is! There's the McMartin! This fucking guy! This fucking guy tried to ruin so many lives! What a fucker! What an evil fuck!
California, and other type of activity. And the investigation began at that point. The McMartins were the pillars of the community. That was the most highly respected preschool, probably in one of the most in the...
Yeah, until y'all fucking started accusing them with no evidence of a bunch of shit they didn't do.
The United States. And so an investigation began, and there were numerous children were interviewed, and they identified actors, professional football players, professional baseball players, as perpetrators. And the children claimed that there were tunnels under the school. They claimed...
Fun fact, there weren't tunnels under the school. So if you're not familiar, the McMartin preschool incident is like the reason that therapists and psychiatrists and social workers that work with children are now taught to be incredibly cautious about making sure you don't implant false ideas into the kid's head. Basically, they were asking incredibly leading questions, and when the kid didn't give the answer that they wanted, they'd kind of coerce them. They wanted these children, basically, to make up stories about satanic abuse at this fucking preschool, and it just didn't happen. None of this was true, but they put people from this fucking preschool on trial based on no evidence other than therapists convinced a bunch of kids to say shit that wasn't real. It's just nuts. It's very similar to Pizzagate. Yeah, it's got similarities, that's for sure.
That they were taken through the tunnels and into the tunnels and molested, by the way. They claimed that they were taken out of the tunnels into the triplex next door up into the bathroom where the bathtub moved, and taken out into automobiles and prostituted in the community to the businessmen, some of the business.
Again, none of this happened. None of this happened.
Because there's so many highly placed government officials who are actively involved in this. This overlaps into pedophilia. I'm working on a case right now, and have been for about the last 4 years, out of Lincoln and Omaha, Nebraska, where children were taken out of Boys Town and out of a private girls' school by limousine to Sioux City, Iowa. They were placed on private jets, flown to Washington, D.C., where they were involved in sex orgy parties with politicians and other prominent individuals.
That's straight out of Pizzagate.
So when you have congressmen and senators involved, and they've identified these congressmen and senators and governors, you have a problem with credibility. You can't go around saying Congressman so-and-so or Senator so-and-so was at a party in such and such a location.
Yeah, you need evidence. You need evidence. Imagine that.
Location, Washington, D.C., and I saw him engaged in a sex act with a 10-year-old boy. People think you're crazy.
He was crazy.
Demon sightings are clearly more prevalent in certain parts of the world. Africans, Asians, Latin Americans, and inhabitants of the Oceania intuitively know the reality of the spiritual world.
What do I even say about that, man? What the fuck?
James was born in Kenya. He remembers the presence of demons in every aspect of his family's and his tribe's lives. He writes about his experiences in his thesis entitled Witchcraft Among the Akamba and the African Inland Church.
My parents practiced every traditional religious practice, including witchcraft. They knew about what is involved
Oh god, did they convince this poor fucking guy that his family was working with demons because they had some sort of traditional African religion? Oh, fuck me. That's fucked up, man. That's fucked up. Were his family's beliefs real? No, but that doesn't mean they're demonic. Lots of groups all around the world have a variety of spiritual and religious beliefs. They're all wrong, but it doesn't make them demonic. I'm so tired.
In witchcraft, for example.
Just weird Christian chauvinism. It's bizarre.
They knew the people that can practice witchcraft, and my grandmother, my mother trained me on identifying these people. And they also took us to witch doctors so that we may be fortified. Fortified is so that you may be protected. It's like surrounding you with treatment that no witch can penetrate with his witchery art or things like that. They prepared us against it because it is practiced. It's a real thing. It is practiced in families, and those that in the village do not want your progress or do not want existence of any child of yourself, they can work out that your child dies. Yes, they know their master. They know their master, and they have conduct. They have the supernatural visitings from the devil or from the demons, any messenger he may want to utilize in this case.
For example?
The demons. The witch may be sleeping and may be given whom to destroy, or whom to begin to prepare to destroy or to harm. May be told that there is a child being born in a certain village, and therefore would be prompted to go there and get involved with the whole process of midwifery, bring that child out. And when the child is coming out, it has this drug puts in the mouth, and the child doesn't live. Demons, like any angelic beings, come in forms of men or of women. And I may want to indicate that my mother was demon-possessed many, many times. One time she was sleeping, and the demons visited her, and she was carried away to a place where they had Satan worship or some sacrifices of some kind.
Chances are they will dope up the victim. In fact, they will. They'll dope up the victim. They'll bring him in. They'll put him on the altar. They call it the altar. They will they will do some chanting, and the adults will be dressed in robes, and the children too. Black, red robes, depending on the ceremony itself. And at a certain time, prescribed time during the ceremony, if they are indoctrinating a child into this, they will have and this is a true story that was passed on to me, the child's hand was...
It's a true story that someone told him. He knows it's true because he wants to believe it.
...placed on a knife, and the father of the child, who was a practicing Satanist, put his hand over top the child's hand and thrust the knife into the body of the infant that was being sacrificed. Oftentimes...
We have no evidence of any of this, but be scared. Be very afraid and go to your local church and tithe at least 10%.
There's a certain way that they cut the body, like across the face like this and so forth. They cut it down. They peel the body back. They will take the heart while it's still pumping and eat part of it. And cannibal.
I'm pretty sure they're very overestimating people's ability to mutilate a human body. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, as human beings, we have a visceral disgust at corpses. Like, it's not It's not a thing people like. People cannot instinctually, we cannot mutilate a human body like it's nothing, much less fucking consume it. Like, that's not something that the vast majority of human beings are physically capable of, mentally capable of, much less a group of people and their children doing so with glee. It's just not how people work. Like, I have a pretty negative view of people, but, like, the kind of person that can mutilate a corpse is a rare person, luckily. Like a psychopath.
Is there a difference in the demonic activity in America? Perhaps the most knowledgeable person to answer that question today is Tim Werner. He literally travels the globe, educating people on the powers of evil. He is author.
Isn't it incredible that all these so-called experts have books to sell? That's incredible.
Of this book, Spiritual Warfare.
In my judgment, there's
Nemesaur, thank you for gifting 10 tier 1 subs. Thank you very much.
really no question whether demons are real. I've dealt with too many of them in too many different places. It's also an almost universal belief system of people around
This is Bat Country.
the world. I've traveled in many, many countries around the world, and there's almost no place where this isn't a really critical element of their whole belief system. So much so that even university professors in places like Thailand almost are entirely animistic in their belief system in relation to this. That is to say,
Yeah, that's not demonic. That's just a different set of spiritual beliefs. Again, not true spiritual beliefs, but like, yours aren't real either. Stop being judgmental of other people's bullshit when you are living in a house of bullshit. It's one thing to try and convince people like, hey, maybe this shit isn't real, but to try and use it to demonize, literally demonize their religion just so they'll convert to yours is sick. You're sick. You're so sick.
they just believe they're real. The president of the university in Bangkok, Thailand, regularly consults the spirits before making major academic decisions.
Do you ever pray before making decisions? Because that's the equivalent. That would be the equivalent, is you praying to God over, like, wisdom to make a certain decision. Do I think that's real? No. I don't think the other thing is real either. But it's a way people mentally contextualize and sort of ruminate on ideas. For whatever reason, people have a propensity towards spiritualism. I don't like it. But it's a thing. It's a thing people use to organize their thoughts and to kind of like center themselves. And it's not evil just because they contextualize it with a different narrative than you do. It's the same thing. It's just a different coat of paint.
And while they appear on the surface as intellectuals operating in the Western educational environment, at their basic belief system, they believe in spirits.
So do you! So do you! This whole show is about you believing in spirits.
Satan is an opportunist, and he takes existing situations and capitalizes on them. So out there, the people have a very strong power orientation to life. So he operates more in the power areas, and you see more of the overt kinds of demonic demonstrations. In the United States, we have more of a mental orientation to life, so he specializes more in deception, causing us to believe doctrines of demons and coming from deceptive spirits. Though we are beginning to see more of the power demonstrations even here in the United States, altered states of consciousness, out-of-the-body experiences, that sort of thing.
We wrestle not with flesh and blood, but principalities and powers. There's a terrible tendency by a lot of people to assume that the spiritual world has no impingement upon the natural world. And our Western world has if not in truth, have adopted that in practice. But 2/3 of the rest of the world has never held that kind of a belief. They clearly mostly out of animism, have believed that there is definitely an impingement of the spiritual world upon the natural world. As Christians in the Western world, we'll tolerate the fact that the Holy Spirit would somehow have an effect on me. But we kind of cringe at the thought that an evil spirit could also have some influence on me. But biblically, that's just not even a question mark. We are clearly warned that we wrestle not with flesh and blood, but principalities and powers. The only real option for us is to understand how and deal with that in a balanced way so we don't make that the whole issue when it's really not the whole issue.
Are Liz, Alan, Loopy, you, and me slaves to demons and Satan?
No. Though being a slave to a demon does sound pretty fun.
Is there no stopping this rise of evil manifestation? Could we at any time fall prey to Satan and his demonic host?
My spiritual awareness heightened all of a sudden. I mean, all this really trying hard and, you know, in meditation and all this other stuff and trying to achieve some state of realization was nothing. I mean, all of a sudden I had a sensitivity to things that are unseen, as if, and it, you know, really supernatural just means very natural. It wasn't particularly spooky at all. Yeah. Particularly when I knew that I had the name of Jesus Christ to cover me. Otherwise, that reality, and I do believe it is a reality, is quite overwhelming. It would be like driving a Mercedes-Benz to downtown LA, having the keys in the ignition, opening all the doors, and walking away. I mean, you don't know who will come in and inhabit the car and drive it away.
I believe that there are such things as demons, and basically what I mean by that is that there's spirits there that are not from God, that are probably attached. Somehow they've rebelled against God and gone against Him, and they're trying to keep us from Him. They're trying to keep us satisfied with the way the world is today, or confused enough that we may want to participate in the evil that's going on out there.
In the December 27, 1993 issue of Time magazine, the editors polled the American people asking if they believe in the existence of angels. 69% said yes.
Oh, that's depressing.
They believe in the existence of angels. What if those same
Also 69, nice.
editors asked the American public if they believe in the existence of demons? Would the answer be the same? Or would that percentage rise almost each year as evil seems to overtake our world day by day?
I don't know that they know that they're getting brownie points from Satan, but I can tell you experience that I had. When I first became involved in this, I was almost asleep one night, and all of a sudden this huge figure, and this sounds like I'm, you know, not all there, but this is what I experienced. This huge figure entered my room, and it was from the ceiling to the floor and had a robe on it, and it said, "Do not become involved in this. Get out." It was a threat to me.
That's a nightmare, sir. Oh my god, everyone's insane. I'm in a world of insane people. Everyone's crazy. Everything's bad all the time.
What's happened now in our culture, and I think around the world for that matter, is a tremendous changing. Because when I went to a movie as a child, it was Godzilla, King Kong, Blob, things you could see. What is it now? It's The Exorcist, it's Poltergeist, it's things you can't see. You got an entire culture, including half of our Christians, frightened to death of things that go bump in the night and absolutely no fear of God. Just exactly opposite of Scripture. Because there's not a verse in the Bible where I'm to fear Satan. Who are we to fear? God. You see, that's the one fear that expels all other fears.
Satan and his demons are real, according to those who study them. In many ways, they are powerful. In many other ways, they are powerless. Your power or powerlessness, they say, solely depends on your preparedness for any potential encounter you might have with the true forces of evil.
will say that was entertaining, but I do think it peaked at the first reenactment. I think it really peaked with the success.
I didn't say anything.
Yeah, right. Well, what are we gonna do now?
Place.
Is Freddy Krueger a demon? I would say so.
No way, I cleaned up last time.
What's the matter, Alan? Too good to clean up twice?
What's the matter, Carla? Feminists don't clean up after parties now?
Pig.
Chill it, you two. Don't start again.
I don't even know where the success thing was. So that's so much fucking AI slop, man. I'm so tired. I'm so tired of the world. Is everything just gonna get worse forever? Maybe. Anyway. Anything else I wanted to watch? I don't know. Let's see. I did show you a little bit of the Hacksand trailer.
Is connected to devil worship. That's the focus tonight of Lonnie Lardner's special report on Satanism. But we want to warn you now that some things you're about to see and hear might be too graphic for children. Lonnie.
Well, Terry, authorities tell us that the most serious or perhaps the most dangerous kind of devil worship comes in the form of underground cults. Most of them are very secretive, usually organizing clandestine rituals in the dark of night.
None of this was ever true, and it was on the fucking news! I'm so exhausted.
Well, those ceremonies sometimes involve the sharing of animal blood to gain power, they say, but cult members believe their strength really comes from secrecy.
It's our secrecy that keeps us powerful.
And power, according to this man, is what true Satanists are guaranteed.
What did they pay this guy to come pretend to fucking do this shit?
Police and Sheriff's Department investigators say satanic cults often find that power in animal sacrifice. Photographs support their theory, and some self-proclaimed devil worshippers tout it.
The animal would bleed to death. It was painless because the knife was always very sharp, if you could cut it right. And the animal would remain alive for several minutes while its blood drained out of the jugular vein.
And then what?
Well, the ritual would work itself up to a frenzy in a head, and hopefully by the time all the emotion was spent out of the human beings, the animal was dead.
The most common thing in an adolescent murderer, for example, is having been abused, having been sexually molested or assaulted as a child. And very often these youngsters will turn that around and assault little children or animals. They'll torture, torment, kill.
When kids will do their sacrificing and their animal mutilation, they'll do it within a pentagram. They'll put black candles on each of the points of the pentagram, a grill over the top, and allow the blood to drip into some kind of container because they use it for bathing in or drinking.
I really want to point out the fact that none of this was ever real means these people just sat around and imagined fucked up shit and were like, that must be happening. Like, these people were projecting so many of their own fucking issues out onto other people.
Right, popular belief of Satanists being animal killers. We believe that animals and small children are the highest form of magic, and therefore it would be completely sacrilegious to harm these beings.
This man says he joined an underground satanic cult after a lifetime of having religion shoved down his throat. He says animal sacrifice.
So I joined another religion.
Took him to a higher place.
When you've got people looking at you like you're a god, you know, and your parents treat you like, it does feel good. It gives you a feeling of power.
Tomorrow night, what drew that cult member to worship the devil and why many youngsters develop a need to control or hurt. Paul.
These goddamn people.
Please don't allow children to
Another super chat. So what you're saying is that in 35 to 40 years, nothing has changed. Cough, litter boxes, cough. Oh yeah, everything's fucked. Everything's fucked forever because we're human beings and human beings suck. We suck so bad.
Watch this video alone.
The 1980s weren't The Exorcist.
Oh, this is someone else's video on it.
Is the stimulation of a child's sense of fun and fear all there is to Halloween? Or is there more? For many entrepreneurs, Halloween is big business, a major promotional event used to bring in billions of dollars worth of revenue. In addition to the usual costumes of cartoon characters for children, a growing number of outlets are featuring more macabre and sinister creations for purchase. This one well-known department store chain will sell more than half...
I know we've watched this before, but not everyone has necessarily seen it. Have we watched it twice? Okay, I won't make you watch it twice then. Sorry.
Welcome to the telecast today. We're going to talk about the dangers of Halloween and what you're exposing your children to. Stay tuned. I'm delighted to present to you my second novel, Avenger of Blood.
Most people think that Halloween is just a Christian holiday. It is actually a nature, Wiccan, Satanic holiday. It's the festival of death. Just to even link Halloween to the Christian church is as bizarre as maybe survivors from the Nazi Holocaust celebrating Hitler's birthday and
Jesus, lady.
Embracing the morals of the death camps.
Well, Halloween is a celebration of death. Christ is a celebration of life. They just don't go together.
Skeletons.
Ouija boards.
What the fuck?
Bones.
Ouija boards.
Pointy hats with witches.
Ouija boards.
Graveyards being defecated on. The focus is on blood and gore and death.
If you read one book this year, make it The Avenger of Blood. Human sacrifice is common in America. How has witchcraft made itself child-friendly?
Have you ever played with a Ouija board? Yes. And it was over a Halloween party.
This is one of the insidious elements of the Harry Potter series. It has made witchcraft appear to be fun. But what is the unseen force behind the Harry Potter books? The driving force is the spirit of witchcraft. The Harry Potter books are a repackaging of witchcraft for your children. Witchcraft is the power through which Satan's kingdom functions, and it attacks the masculine nature of God and presents God as a feminist. Harry
Oh, the horror.
Potter promotes meditation, fortune
I can deal with demons, but God is a feminist. You've gone too far.
and occult spells, vampires, demons, and Satanism. Satan is after your children.
How has this come in? I think Hollywood has been doing a lot of the conditioning. Sabrina the Teenage Witch, the Pagan Federation in England that says their mailbags swell every time that Sabrina the Teenage Witch comes on. Thousands of teenagers.
It's an entertaining show. It was pretty funny. Another super chat. This super chat is on behalf of Hiking Hound Artist Ground over here in YouTube chat because rhyming names are cool.
Wanting to join covens and become witches.
If you've never seen Sabrina the Teenage Witch, it's literally like a family sitcom where they're like it's comical.
Mr. Kraft married a witch?
It's like Bewitched, but in the 90s. It was kind of like Bewitched, but in the 90s, and with a teenage star.
Storm. The man.
I can't play much of it, but, you know, this is the vibe. It's very bright and overlit because it was a 90s sitcom.
Harry Potter series is the thing that convinces me the Antichrist is not far off. Even Harry Potter's forehead is marked with the lightning bolt of the Hitler SS. I went to
I don't think that's the intent, sir.
a seminary
I have plenty of criticism for the writer of Harry Potter, but that is not one of them.
that more or less taught that demons did not function in America, that they were something that functioned in foreign countries. I wondered what there was that kept demons from getting across the Rio Grande. I know that I am capable of cold-blooded murder with absolute malice aforethought without an ounce of regret.
It may be fun, but it isn't harmless.
Tarot cards, it will destroy your...
Hold on. Oh, Grimy Ghost. Okay, I've seen this channel before. They do pretty funny edits. That makes sense. That makes sense.
child. You shall not permit a person to...
Aren't Bewitched and Sabrina from the same comic book company? I don't know if Bewitched was ever a comic. Sabrina was part of the Archie comic series and got her own spin-off. Sabrina's part of the Archie universe.
Talk to a
I
witch.
think they did a crossover with Riverdale for that reason.
You should not allow
The
a
new Netflix show. The newer Netflix show, not the 90s show.
witch to live.
Horoscopes.
There are people who will read the horoscope and never read the Word of God. The cutting of trees is like the raping of your mother.
So it's not bad. The religion of feminism and fertility is greater than the Father God, the Creator.
We as a society have become so inundated with smut on the television, pornography, and Ouija boards. Schools are promoting Harry Potter and his religion, causing an occult revival around the world.
In book number 1, Harry's parents are murdered on Halloween night. So we see Halloween associated with blood, fear, death.
The Avenger of Blood has sworn to kill the Roman soldier who raped his sister on Patmos, making their lives a living nightmare. Halloween is nothing but the repackaging of the theology of Satan in a very fun, happy, joyous package to get your children to dabble with it. And once they get drawn into this occulted theme of death, fear, and destruction, their life can be permanently scarred or destroyed. Listen closely and protect your family.
Wow, that was certainly something, huh? I think they have some more edits. Let's see.
If you got a Ouija board at home, go home and get that thing out of your house immediately. Miss Cleo trying to get you to call her psychic hotline. The devil does not know the future. It's Tiny Toon. Shirley's interests include her crystal collection, reading horoscopes, chanting her mantra. Our friend Rhonda said, "Can we tell your fortune?" And the fortune teller was just taken back, didn't know what to say. Your fortune is you're going to die and go to hell unless you get delivered of this occultism. Sailor Moon looks pretty innocuous, yet look at the astrological symbols. I used to be an Aries, and now I'm a Christian. I made that decision that I was going to follow God instead of follow my astrology chart. I remember
Such an Aries thing to say. Green Guy with the $3 tip says, Hannah, if you have a show called Sabrina the Teenage Christian, you're mocking Christianity, but Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and now you're worshiping Satan.
rolling down the scroll of the astrology chart that a bona fide black witch that I was dating had done for me. And of course, wizards. E.T. is another great example. Steven Spielberg made the statement that E.T. was a play upon the biblical account of Christ. Folks, listen, it's the Christ story. He came from outer space. He said he'd live inside us always. Remember, he pointed to Elliot's heart. He had the power to heal. His finger lit up and he healed people. He died. He rose from the grave, and his followers cried as he ascended into the clouds. The single thing missing from the story of E.T. was there was no shedding of blood, there was no remission of sin, but he was a false...
Of course there was no shedding of blood. No one had a gun in that movie. All walkie-talkies. Another super chat. Is this the channel that talks about how Jesus said, "Come if you're willing to take requests"? I can pull up the come video. Hold on. Where is that? Actually, I don't know. Where would I find that video? Was that Everything is Terrible, maybe? Or Everything is Awful? Hold on. Because I think that's one of their top videos. Let me look. Yep.
Come. I'd do anything for Jesus. I found over 1,700 times in the Word of God where this word is used, come, and that's not cometh and the rest of the comes, but that's just come. Preaching my heart out for 45 minutes to an hour on that one word, come. And it was one of our Lord's favorite words. Come unto me. Come and drink. Come and dine. Jesus said, come, come, and come, 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 and it goes on and on and on. I know this is dumb, friends, but there are people that still haven't got it, so bear with me. When I say come, it means come. And I'm coming, you're coming. When I turn to my son and I say come, I want them to come. That word come is universal in its application. Come. What did Jesus say to his disciples? Come. There's no room for discussion, friend. Guess what? Come. Come. It commands obedience. Come, come, come. How many have had the Holy Ghost come in you? You come. Come. He was crucified for you. you. He died for you. He did everything for you. It's time for you to come. He's come. He's already come. He wasn't just a baby in a manger, friend. That was God coming. I love the way the Christmas story starts out, because God came, and then the wise men had to come. The shepherds had to come. And ever since Jesus came, he said, I've done my part. Now you come. You come. I came. You come. Come quickly. What is this hesitating stuff? That's demonic, friend. You're going to die. And one day when you die, you're going to be with him whether you like it or not. And I don't want him to look at me when I die and say, I've been calling you all your life. Now through death, you've had to come. I said, come, 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 come. For those of you that don't believe that, friend, you need to read your Bible.
That's something.
Christ figure, and for almost 20 years, this was the #1 movie in Hollywood history when it comes to finances. George Lucas, an admitted spiritual seeker. The philosophy is classic yin-yang, illustrated in Obi-Wan's famous statement, Luke, Luke, the force is within you. Well, the force isn't within us. The Holy Spirit resides in us. Disney show So Weird that's on the Disney Network. We believe...
Oh, I loved that show. It was like X-Files for kids.
That demon powers are the UFOs, and it's part of the desensitization and the capturing process that Satan is using in this end-time hour. And of course, the X-Files is frightening as well as paranormal. Look at this one, Captain Planet and the Planeteers.
What? He's a hero! He's gonna put pollution down to 0! What the fuck are you talking about?
Mother Earth. She's the earth goddess of Hinduism and is very big in the spiritual end of the New Age movement. Animorphs, that means to shapeshift, that's lycanthropy. Dragon Ball Z is Digimon, trading cards, and demonic angels, referring to a beast whose number was...
I need to find the whole version of this, because this is hilarious.
666. That was all I needed to see. The channel was turned off and Digimon will not come into this house again. I put a brick on one end and I climbed up in the tree and I jumped down the other end of the brick and I'm looking around for the brick to come down, and you guessed it, it came down and hit me right here. 12 stitches required.
That explains a lot.
Seen that on a cartoon, and I went and did what the cartoon told me to do.
Jesus.
Am I saying that you're a bad parent somehow if you have Pokemon in your house? Not necessarily.
Green guy with a $3 tip says, AI should be used just to go through footage to make cum edits like that, so someone doesn't have to watch all the dumb footage to make it. We found a use case.
Tell you where Pokemon have been. I can tell you where a large share of the things coming from Hollywood have been. And it hasn't been in heaven. Pokemon came from Japan. It's a mixture of Shintoism and Buddhism. Those religions kind of...
Another super chat, 5 Svenska bucks, and thanks for that clip. Also thanks because I now realize it wasn't the same preacher, they just have the same 90s creeper stash. Yeah.
Honor one another as honorable religions, yet they're both full of violence and mysticism. One student even pulled a knife on another student to steal his Pokemon cards. This is how far some have gone. The masters overcome and often kill other weaker Pokemon through ongoing occult activities such as
They don't kill the other Pokemon, they pass out.
Lycanthropy, apportation, incantations, and spells. Burger King drive-thru. In their bag of food was not just one Pokemon card, it was several evil Mewtwo cards. There was a young boy causing a ruckus in the department store. You could hear the parent trying to discipline the young boy. He begins summoning the spirit of Pokemon to come and help him.
The spirit of Pokemon, come upon me! Kashel Gladio says, Hannah, if Captain Planet keeps protecting the environment, then the apocalypse is never going to happen and Jesus isn't going to come back. Silly Hannah.
Because he didn't like being disciplined. And this is the kind of thing, the way kids are using the things that they're learning in the cartoons and through television. My son John came into my room crying uncontrollably. He said, I was wide awake and one of them came up to me and said, I'm going to kill you and take you to hell. He told me that I wasn't strong enough to make him leave and he had the right to be...
Yeah, the kid is having a nightmare about being taken to hell because you indoctrinate him to be afraid of a fictional place. This kid's nightmare is your fault. Oh my God, how don't you get this?
In me. Puzzled, I asked him who said this and what did he look like, and John said his name was Ginkar. That's Ginkar. Gengar. He was one of the characters in Pokemon that was supposed to have the power to kill. He began to shake violently and started screaming, "He's trying to choke me." I don't recall all the details of the next 2 full hours, but I bound everything I could think of in Jesus' name and took spiritual authority over the demonic powers. What took place included violent shaking, choking, vomiting, eyes rolling back, contorted facial expressions, instances of cursing me, shuddering.
Yes, he probably means Gengar. He probably means Gengar. So this kid is familiar with the Pokemon, and he had a nightmare where a Pokemon said he was going to drag him to hell because the dad is into all this shit and has clearly indoctrinated the kid to be afraid of hell. And he's probably even mentioned to the kid that he doesn't like the Pokemon stuff. So no wonder the kid's having fucking nightmares.
Not being able to control his mouth, threats. I counted 15 different manifestations of spirits. 3 most powerful were Ginkar, Hypnoti, and the actual spirit of Pokemon. The media said, although Pokemon is heavy with...
The spirit of like the entire franchise has a specific demon or something? That's great.
Fighting, it also offers children an empowering storyline. Heroes generally come out on top. That's the problem with relative thinking that goes on in our culture. When I was growing up, I knew who the good guy was because he had the whitest hat, the whitest horse, and the cleanest look. Today,
oh, and that clearly you psychologically turned out fine, having a very black and white view of morality. That's going great for the human race. Alted Undying says, so my one gargoyle character for the game was asked what his Pokemon team would be, and this is what I drew. Pikachu, Porygon, Rhydon, Furret, Diancie, and Rampardos. I don't recognize some of these because I'm an old bitch. Like the bottom 3 I don't recognize, but that's cool. Bittergrin with 100 bits says, in the Pokedex, some of the Pokemon, including Gengar, will actually kill people, so just a regular nightmare. Almost on a hype train.
Today, you can't tell the villains from the heroes, and I realize I'm called a non-intellectual by some of the more intellectuals in the church today.
Oh my fuck. Ooh, a lot of this is something.
Peer pressure.
Stone Corbell, thanks for gifting a sub and kicking off a hype train. If you want to help the hype train, bits and subscriptions, gift subs, those help. Thank you.
Pressure comes when you feel like this group of people is forcing you to perform in a way that they consider acceptable.
My high school experience, you didn't say praise the Lord. You kind of went along with the crowd.
Peer pressure is living up to someone else's will for your life.
Negative peer pressure can cause deep wounds emotionally and spiritually.
I can think of a few people who have died. If I would have shared Jesus Christ with these people, some people might be alive today.
Is that not you trying to peer pressure them? Also, fuck you for trying to act as though you could have helped these kids with their depression by proselytizing to them. Go fuck yourself. There's a good chance they were Christian anyway. Like, it's America in the 90s. Even today, the majority of Americans identify as Christian. In the 90s, it was an even higher percentage.
Sometimes the choices we make are for a lifetime.
They used to try to get me to swear in the locker room, to curse or say something. They say, I'll give you $5 if you swear.
That's peer
No one gives people money to swear.
pressure.
Even though they do reject you and persecute you,
No, Will Kale, the host did not come out as gay. I was thinking of someone else. You probably got that misinformation from me because I said that once, and I was confusing him with a different guy who was in videos like this. So I apologize if I misinformed you on that.
How that creates their curiosity.
This guy just sucks.
Going against the grain, against the peer pressure. Young people, who do you go to when you have problems? Friends and music.
The next group I'm going to introduce to you may come at you in a way that you're not used to seeing Jesus come at you through music. The Newsboys, everybody.
Oh my god, the Newsboys! Isn't one of the Newsboys in a scandal right now because they allegedly assaulted someone? Am I crazy? Did I hear that shit about the Newsboys, the fucking Christian band? Very famously, they're in the God's Not Dead movies. They do the titular God's Not Dead song. Oh, he was assaulting underage girls, allegedly. Oh, what a piece of fucking shit. What a crazy world. Alright, I'm gonna skip the song because that's gonna copyright me.
Have to be negative.
Peer pressure to do what the Word of God says.
And His will is perfect.
When you respond to God's peer pressure, to
Green guy with the $1 tip says heater is a type of shield. The more you know.
the positive peer pressure of other Christians, you're going to make a difference.
There's a revolution mounting in this country of Christian young people who are willing to do radical things for Jesus.
We should all put our hope in the Lord and not in the people that are around us.
People have to be willing to sell out totally to Jesus Christ.
Bittergrin says 3 men. Newsboys dropped from label after investigations to claim of sexual assault by Michael Tate. Tate. Funny that his last name is Tate. Jesus Christ. Who had been accused of sexually assaulting three men in the early 2000s, 2 of whom said they believed they had been drugged by the rock star. Jesus Christ.
Be radical. Follow Jesus Christ.
Let's see what else. Minute left on the hype train, 52% to level 1. Oh, he has the cum preacher at it too. That's funny.
I want you to understand that I didn't come today to decide for you what you're going to do about sex. And I can't choose for you. No matter how much we would wish that we could put you in a box, lock it, feed you through a window till you're 24, we can't. God created sex. It's awesome. God wants you to have great sex. God created sex. It was His idea, not yours. When sex happens within boundaries, it's awesome. What is the boundary or the context for which God created sex? Most of you don't believe that. So many church kids I've had in my office for years look at me and say, but we loved each other. So, God did not create sex for love.
You gotta teach people to use protection, man. You're not gonna stop every teenager from fucking each other. It's just not happening. Never in the history of humankind have people ever stopped teenagers from awkwardly fondling each other, at minimum. You gotta teach them to be safe, you goddamn idiots. Yeah, I see the L. Ron Hubbard books that you fucking had to read. Jesus Christ, it's not even like few books, it's a lot of books. There's picture number 1. Oh, look at all these goddamn fucking L. Ron Hubbard books. Oh no, you're definitely working for someone involved with Scientology. That's a shame.
Created sex for one context and one only. Marriage, not love. Even the stupidest of you in here can get this. You are not married. What are most teens who are having sex afraid of? I got a news flash for you. Pregnancy is not a disease. Pregnant teenage girls in this country today are carrying, on average, 2.3 sexually transmitted diseases. I will have a...
That sounds wrong. That sounds incredibly wrong.
Girl, write me, email me, or come right up to me and say this. Well, my mom found out I was having sex, and so she put me on the pill. That drug has just made her 10 times more likely to contract the disease than if she were not taking that drug. This girl's gonna end up sterile or dead. Thanks, Mom.
No, just use condoms. Be safe. What are you talking about? I think that's a weird correlative thing, because if you're on the pill, yeah, you're more likely someone who's engaging in sexual activity. But, like, it's still safer?
Mom, glad you cared. Well, every child...
By the way, a lot of the citations and stuff, lack of citations, the figures they give in these abstinence-only talks are generally made the fuck up. They're either completely made up, or they're ones that have been made by, Christian organizations that make their studies really fucked up and incorrect in order to get these numbers to scare kids.
Should be wanted and planned. Well, I wouldn't have an abortion. That's terrible. But if it were rape, well then, I don't believe that. In the next 24 hours, 12,000 teens will contract a sexually transmitted disease. 12,000 teens who got up this morning and said, like some of you sitting in this room, that's not going to happen to me. And that happens in Los Angeles and San Diego and San Francisco and Sacramento and scary schools like St. Paul. But we're okay here at Alamany. You're wrong.
Just a Peach with a tip says, this is also victim blaming. That would include herpes and other STIs that you can get from other ways.
Pull out that diamond, look her in the eyes. If you're really cool, young man, you'll get on your knees. You say, marry me. By the way, I've got genital warts. A bunch of people tell me I needed to watch ABC, because ABC was going to do a little special about sex, and we all know what a fountain of truth the media is. Chlamydia, Cindy Crawford. You actually believe that if you get up the next morning and herpes isn't tattooed to your forehead, you don't have a disease. Oh, purple nose, herpes.
Oh, that's too much. It's so much. Why? Why are people like this?
What kind of raw deal have you had to face?
Today we'll meet with some people who have been through some tough situations. They feel like they've gotten the raw deal.
Our first story takes us to Columbine High School in Colorado.
Alton Undying says, all the projection on fetuses will not bring back dead babies. I hate the abortion thing, yeah.
I remember watching that on TV. Shocking.
Oh, this was after! This was after! I thought it was just an unfortunate coincidence. No, they're exploiting this. Oh, fuck! Another super chat says, people should be as freaky as they want with partners as long as all parties consent, even multiple partners, as long as there's open communication. Let off some steam, then chillax with platonic love. Platonic is usually not sexual, but yeah, I see what you're saying.
We saw two people in trench coats at the top of the hill loading weapons.
Jesus, dude!
People shot at my friend Dan. People were starting to run in panic.
You're not prepared for something like that. How are we supposed to react?
Sometimes we think life shouldn't be this hard, but it is. Like the students at Columbine, victims of a horrific tragedy. Are your parents divorced?
Every little girl, more than
Yeah, those are equivalent.
anything, just wants to know that their dad is going to be there for them. No matter how ugly they are, no matter how stupid they are.
Elizabeth's parents got divorced and she feels very distant from her dad.
A lot of times I wouldn't hear from him. On my birthday, I wouldn't even get a card in the mail.
Elizabeth felt rejected by her dad.
How would that make you feel?
I would ask the Lord, why doesn't my dad love me? My dad put his hand in my hand and he just held it and he just said, Elizabeth, I love you so much, and I'm so sorry for what happened. And that brought a lot of healing because I thought, wow, he really does love me, even though he hasn't shown it all this time.
What the fuck?
Realize that life will go on, and with God's help, you move on with it.
When I forgave my dad, I knew that I'd obeyed God and that he'd blessed it. There's nothing better than knowing that God's pleased with what you did.
Elizabeth's father had no right breaking promises to her. He was wrong, and Elizabeth knows that. God has forgiven us through Jesus, so we can forgive others.
An addiction is sweeping our nation.
Hi, it's code 4148 North St. Andrews. Caller heard not seen.
It is of epidemic proportions. Small group Bible study. The Word, is it in you?
Now let's check in and see how those students from Columbine are doing.
I just knew that God had a purpose for this. He wouldn't just let something happen without a purpose.
I thank him for letting me live. This is going to make me stronger, and I'll thank God for it someday.
When you've been handed a raw deal, try acceptance,
No
forgiveness,
comment
and a new
on
direction.
that.
God is in the habit of making things work together for good. How's he going to use this raw deal to change your life for the better? God is in the habit.
Jesus Christ. What vile fucking people. Vile, disgusting, terrible, absolutely fucking terrible.
Face it, we all get angry.
We are talking about getting mad.
Sometimes you have good reasons to get mad. Anger is like a fire.
I think I need to start covering these weird old Christian videos more often, because this shit's nuts. Ugh. Green Guy says, some boomer-ass shit passing the blame to children. Yeah, that's gross.
It does a lot of good things for us.
You know those times when your friends talk behind your back?
One of my supposed friends was just bad-mouthing me the entire lunch.
If someone harms you, what should you do?
What makes you so mad that you want to get even?
Well, the most natural thing to do is to fight back.
Jitara says, fuck that. Paul wouldn't put you through this to test you or make you stronger.
I don't think my mother loves me. She says that I'm an accident.
We should overcome evil with
My parents used to tell me that too.
good. Well, how can we do that?
Because I was an accident.
I'm not completely sure.
Makes me feel angry.
Find other friends to build you up. When that evil teacher yells at you for being an ignoramus, be sure to have lunch with your buddies who appreciate you.
She can't believe that I actually have any friends.
My dad also informed me he didn't really want kids. My mom did. And he was pretty hands-off. And, yeah, they were not good parents. They were not good parents.
You shrug, you wait till the last possible second to do what they ask.
Mother will say so many hateful things that I'm so grotesquely fat.
Maybe your best friend decided to ask out your girlfriend, and you just want to get back at them.
The Bible says we should let God take revenge for us.
Try to sort it out with the person who is making you angry and shape it into something more positive.
Maybe you can surprise the person by doing something nice in response.
Somebody else deserves to be hurt.
A lot of kids pretend to forgive because that's the right thing to do.
If she had said, I'm sorry, I was wrong, it wouldn't have mattered.
They really just push the anger under the surface, and they still hold a grudge.
She doesn't seem to regret anything she says, so why should I forgive her? I really don't want to forgive her.
Yeah, probably go no contact with those parents. Fuck them. I don't even know if I want to see whatever the fuck this
The internet is cool. And don't forget about IMing and email. And what about chat room? You can do it completely anonymously.
You're not really as anonymous as you think. A semi-decent techie can figure out everything about you in just a few clicks.
I found this chat room, on that guitar website about a month ago. And he said he was interested in our band too, man. He even said he had this massive guitar collection, all autographed and everything, man. He was asking me if I wanted to come over and see them in person. I thought he was the coolest guy I'd ever met.
Cuomo is staying in the New York City ballot for mayor. I would bet... watch, the DNC's gonna fucking back him, too, instead of the actual fucking winner. Holy shit. Oh, we're fucked, man.
He started sending me these emails. Attaches a picture of my house, my dog. He said he'll do something to my dog if I tell anybody about this. And you know how Charlie's an outside dog.
Just watch, we're gonna get the first Republican mayor of New York, and I don't even know how long, because the Democrats that told us to vote blue no matter who for fucking Joe Biden are gonna refuse to vote for a fucking leftist mayor. I hate this timeline so much. Another super chat says, this video sucks because it's not even wrong. Hell yeah, support the downtrodden students. It's the right thing to do, but not because God. Also, they're blaming, it's not good. Not good shit.
Child molesters. Adults who want to have sex with kids.
Strip poker, Xbox style. If I lose too many more times, I won't have any clothes on at all.
It can really be a rush when an older teenager thinks you're cool.
He gives us beer, wine coolers, and hard lemonade.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey, Steve.
Nice wheels.
Thanks.
This is Kyle. He's cool.
All right, well, come on in. Show shots! And now it's showtime! Is anybody else in here hot?
You know, even I have my limits on what I find funny to watch, and that's a fucked up educational thing, but it's too on the nose, man. I can't.
Today's program, we're going to deal with the subject of sexual relationships according to God's will.
Sex outside of marriage has become widely accepted in today's society.
Sex is great, but it's scary and it's a gamble with your life.
Did God really say that?
Each their own. You do what you want to do, I do what I do.
Satan will always lead us into disobedience.
We've heard a lot about safe sex, but is there really such a thing?
I believe in safe sex, yes.
There is no such thing as safe sex.
The AIDS virus is so small that they're now finding that it can go through a condom.
It's not. That's never been the case. That's a thing that evangelicals made up to try and get people to do abstinence and to not trust condoms. That has never been found to be true. Holy fuck, these people are monsters.
Our sources say that when the public figures out that AIDS has grown to epidemic proportions, they're going to be comforted because we're going to give them the cure. Condoms. We produce condoms.
Excuse me? Wearing a condom is better than nothing to combat AIDS, but they're not even...
It's actually very effective at combating AIDS, especially when it's, PIV, like, sexual relations. It's incredibly useful.
100% effective. So to market it as the answer to the AIDS problem would be misleading, because it can't completely.
You have another appointment?
No, I don't.
Then you have an important phone call.
I don't have an extension.
I see this plan as good for America. It's going to be good for our nation. We're going to be a condemnation.
I like it. Condemnation.
Condemnation, that's us.
Sex outside of God's plan is sin and has dangerous consequences.
I was continually sad. I felt really bad about myself, real emotional, a lot of turmoil, a lot of pain. I just wanted to kill myself.
I lost my identity.
This isn't worth it.
I lost my self-respect.
2 months ago, I found out that I have another STD.
There's all kinds of diseases out now.
It hurts your family, mentally, emotionally. It's really literal hell going through.
You do not break God's laws. God's laws break you.
Does he think that sounds inspirational? What the
We
fuck?
need to have self-control, and that comes only by giving Jesus Christ total control of our life.
And now I'm realizing that that's my best friend and that's who I need. Because right now I don't have those boyfriends that I had sex with. They're not around. But my God is there all the time.
God's laws.
Alright, I gotta get going so I can get ready for work. I wish I could hang out all day and watch stupid videos with you guys, but I can't because I got bills to pay. So I'll see y'all tomorrow. I'm not sure what time I'm gonna be streaming tomorrow. Because I have, Pride, I'm going to a Pride thing tomorrow, a Pride event, and I'm not sure exactly when I'll stream it. It might be before, might be after, I don't know. But I will be streaming tomorrow, because I have, tomorrow on the docket, I have the Pride thing, streaming, and then D&D in the evening. So I'm gonna fit all that in there somewhere, so keep an eye out for the notifications and stuff. If you happen to see me at Pride, I'm not gonna say which one it's gonna be. If you happen to see me there, though, feel free to say hi. That's fine. Just don't be a creep. But feel free to be like, hey, I know you. All right. Have a great night, everyone. Let me see who we're going to raid. I said good night. It's not night. It's it's afternoon. Early afternoon. Jesus. We will raid Tina 2.
I'm just saying in general.
All right. Have a great night, everyone. I'll see you tomorrow. I said good day, sir. Good day. Now, have a good rest of your day, everyone. If I don't see you, have a good weekend. But, you know, if you don't see me, I'll be around. Bye, everyone.